everybody, and welcome to another edition of Uniquely Designed. I get the opportunity to be able to share great people with you every week, and it is my joy and my pleasure to be able to share great people with you today. That I happen to be biased in most of my interviews because I know some great people, and I'm not ashamed to share them with you. I think that a real friend shares their great stuff with you, so I don't like to keep it to myself. So I get to share today. We get double for the trouble, so double with me today. Two of my really close friends have been friends for many, many years. So one is a judge, so anytime I get in trouble, I know who to call. And one is a fashionista. Anytime I need to make sure I check my attire, I know check me on that as well. So without any further ado, I welcome Samara and LaSheyl to our podcast. Welcome, friends.
Thank you, Brian. Yes. You know great people because you are a great person.
Yes.
Gloss over that.
You know great people. Thank you so much for having us today.
Yes. Thank you.
I just saw this, and I didn't want to say this before we got started because I just saw that, LaSheyl, you just was preaching in the church on this past weekend. I saw you up there preaching to the people. I said, you better speak to the people.
Bless the Lord.
Slayed the church on Pentecostal Sunday.
Okay. I saw it.
I had my best friend there as my armor bearer. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And videographer, photographer. Okay.
All things.
Well, speaking of that, I want to, well, first of all, that was great. Secondly, and I know you had a hard time getting yourself together because they sang for every mountain before you got up to.
Right.
I was like, that's kind of set up for failure. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
We should just go in right now.
Yeah.
Okay. But
so,
you did.
We did. You went in, but you got yourself together. You did rather quickly. Yeah. You said, all right, let me get this stuff together. All right.
Help me, Lord.
But I want to talk about friendship first because y'all are so close that you share each other's location that I just found out. But I've known you all to be friends since, of course, Kentucky State. But I don't know if you all were friends before Kentucky State. That's what I don't know. So I don't know if the friendship followed you to Kentucky State or did it really solidify itself at Kentucky State?
All right.
We have been friends since we put our wrist up.
Oh, yes.
Since we were 7 years old.
Oh, wait, can't see.
Oh, can't see it. We just got these matching tattoos last fall.
Let's say faith.
Yes, with the T is a number 7 because we met when we were 7 years old.
Really?
Yes, in the second grade.
Sunshine Christian Academy.
Sunshine Christian Academy, yes. Mm-hmm. And Samara was coming in. I have been there since kindergarten. And Samara came in and I helped her and her family get acclimated to our apostolic ways.
Yes. And so we went to school together for second, third, and fourth grade. And then my parents were like, girl, you going to public school. Okay. And she'll continue on with her private education. But our parents made sure that we remained friends. People thought LaSheyl went to my high school because she was always there in our gear, even in drill team, had the uniform and everything. So we were just blessed that our parents knew then at that age that we had a very special connection. They wanted to make sure that it was sustained over the years.
Yes. So from 5th grade through high school, we did not go to school together again until Kentucky State University. But like Samara said, our parents made sure. So like every weekend with each other, our parents were closer because of it. But I just appreciate them. And we tell them often just for ensuring that we were able to maintain our friendship. We even lived like on separate sides of town. We didn't live anywhere near each other. But they made sacrifices so that we could consistently see each other. And then people advised that we not go to the same college.
Really? Yeah.
Yes. Because they said our friendship would not last if we went to college together, and then especially if we were roommates. They were like, that will be the death of your friendship.
Y'all roommates too?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We were until they left me and moved off campus.
Yeah.
But yes, we were roommates as well. But we both wanted to go to a HBCU, and our parents also during spring breaks in high school sent us on HBCU college tours. And so, not specifically taking the advice of others, but I guess kind of, as well as we've always been supportive of each other and knew like early on that we had different paths and that might mean different colleges. Yeah. And so, even though we went on the HBCU college tours, we were going to go to different HBCUs all the way up until like the last semester of high school. Yeah. When we both decided to go to K-State.
So did you experience any straining of the relationship as roommates?
No.
So yeah, no. Now maybe it put a strain on. We might put a strain on
other people, but
because we always had seats, so it was more than the two of us.
You know that, Mario. You know the stream.
But we were fine.
Yes.
Well, I say that like, and I'm not saying it's not true anymore, but you don't see a lot of friendships that last as long as your friendship has lasted. And that you equally support each other on different sides. Like, you know, Samara's not a judge, you know, well, you are a dancer, you do dance too. But you all are still supportive of each other in that way, you know, and have been. I didn't know it was that long. Now really, oh my, y'all are really gelling over. You know, but strong, you know, Black women, educated women that are supporting each other and not jealous of each other, nor try to bend each other over to do what each other does. You know, I think that that's really powerful. Do you think that the friendship and the relationship, the sisterhood bond that you all have established has been the level, or has been the safety net for you in different seasons that you've experienced?
Oh, definitely, for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's the foundation of like the business that we do together. You know, we knew I think we knew kind of at an early age. We knew at an early age we had something special, but it wasn't until like we got to college and kind of saw the different dynamics of other female to female relationships and like, wow. Like y'all really out here competing, and it's like we all in this together.
Right. Like we get so much more when we come together and collaborate over competing with each other. Yes. So we've never been like in competition, always supported one another, and embraced our differences and our uniquenesses, which is what we share with younger people. Like you have to embrace your differences, and that's how we truly have harmony and get the benefit out of the relationship and the fact that God allowed us to cross paths to be together. It's not for us to be the same, but it's for us to be able to pull on each other and our uniquenesses so that together we can be stronger and do something greater than we could have done if we were alone. When you said solidify the bond of our sisterhood, and just being with each other through different seasons. So Mario, you know, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I was diagnosed when I was pregnant at the end of my pregnancy with our second son, and started chemo, you know, when he was just 4 weeks old. And chemo doing what chemo does, sometimes my hair has started to come out. And so I went to Samara because I had been trying to like keep it to myself. Like my hair has always been my crown and glory. Okay. And one of my other dreams was to be on a perm box, and it still might happen one day, even though I don't get a perm anymore. But anyway, I digress. And so I had started to like run my fingers through my hair, and it would come out in my hands. And so Samara and I were together, and I told her, I was like, oh my goodness, like it's starting to come out, but I think I'm gonna just keep wrapping it, just be a little bit more gentler and hold on to it until the end. And being the sister that she is, Samara was like, no, like you are not going to do this. Let's just cut it off. Like, let's go cut it off and just do it. So I like go along with it a little bit, but not fully convinced or persuaded in my own mind. And so we go and get the clippers, and then we go back to my house to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, like I changed my mind. I want to keep it just like a little bit longer. And then Samara takes the clippers and goes the middle of her own head. And she was like, we out here now. Like I did mine, so now you guys do yours. And so we stood in the bathroom of my house upstairs. Neither of our husbands knew, our parents didn't know. But that is just a testament, like, to the sisterhood, and just being grateful that God will give you someone who will be with you, like, truly when you are at your lowest point and not sure, and not just be there, but to really say, like, I'm going to get in here with you and we're going to go through this together. And next thing you know, both of our hair was down on the floors, matching toenail polish that we didn't even know. We like taking a picture of all this hair on the floor.
Yeah, hers is just like, okay. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to the barbershop tomorrow. You ain't walking around like this. I understand why you did it, but honey.
What made Samara, did you know you were going to do that, or just something in you?
No, but I knew how Shell felt about her hair. And like she said, sometimes you would wake up with some hair in your pillow. So can you just imagine that you waking up and then you got a big patch of hair? Like, no, that's even more traumatic than taking control of it on your own. And let's just do it, right? We beautiful with hair, without hair, all of that. So so no, I am impulsive, Mario. Okay.
Yes. Samara's always the let's just do it friend. Okay.
Yes, I know. Yeah. My mother is a breast cancer survivor as well, so I know what that was like. Experience that, the changes and going through the wig thing and how that looks, all those different areas. So that you do need a friend, like that. So I want to talk about how did Kentucky State shape you? And I know there are a lot of people that are watching or listening and like, will he please interview somebody who did not go to Kentucky State? But let me tell you something. I've said it on many interviews, but my barometer of excellence first was introduced at Kentucky State. I don't know now. I don't know what they do now, but the Reds at that time and how you all would come on the field, as far as, we knew, like, get out the way, favorites are coming, get out the way, and then when you all walked into like games, whether it be the Central State game versus Kentucky State game or whatever, we knew, first of all, y'all always came late, but when you came, we knew that y'all were going to shut down the room. It doesn't matter what anybody had on, y'all were going to come in to dominate and to shut down the room. All, however, 18 of y'all it was, y'all would come through the room, but excellence, grace, how to be a strong woman, even in college, to be a strong woman, knowing who they were, not, no matter what you wore or who you were, very confident then. I don't know if you were, but it always seemed to be that you were always confident in everything that you wore, everything that you did at all times. So a lot of times I measure, when someone says, oh, that was a good dance, I'm like, I have seen better. Or whatever. And it's not to be, critical, and it's very hard.
Yeah.
Once you sing great, it's difficult to settle for ordinary. It really is. So a lot of people that I do talk to is because they were, to me, the first examples of, you can be better than this. Like, you see people come from Columbus, these people come from Detroit, people coming from, whatever, versus me, I was just from Kentucky, and I was just like, I thought I had seen it all. Then I went to Kentucky State and I was like, wait a minute, I have been deprived. So how was your experience just coming to just down the road, to HBCU in Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that it's definitely still one of the most precious seasons of my life. Just being around people from all different walks of life, but a lot of times you just immediately clicked, feeling like family, feeling like you belong. And it was just a safe place where you could find yourself, because you do learn things about yourself, in college, but it was a safe place to do it. Right. Never felt in danger, never felt out of place. It just felt like home. So even though we both come from a supportive background, just being around our K-State family just helps to even strengthen more our sense of self-worth and confidence, and just taking our place in this world. I always say HBCU all day long for our brown babies, brown and black babies.
Yes,
for sure.
For sure. Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, we met like some amazing people. Those are like the best 4 years of life, which is why we continue to go back like as much as we can to support, but just to have that feeling of safety, like Samara talked about. Like I can go to homecoming and it's just like, oh, just feel at home.
Yeah,
And
like I'm just Shell, right? I'm
yes, just to
Shell.
be chill.
Yes,
Forget all the other stuff, like just
yes,
to be. So to have a place that you can authentically be your real self and have people who unconditionally love you, who are all over the world, who you know are supporting you and you do the same for them. It's an amazing feeling. Like sometimes it's indescribable because it is such a blessing to have like the extension and to really call ourselves family and to mean it.
yes.
That the greatest thing for me with the HBCU experience, as you talk about family, is that no matter what year you went, everybody still claims each other. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like if you do something, if you're out there somewhere, everybody claims you. Like let you be on TV. That's one of ours. Whether they didn't go to school, but like everybody genuinely feels like family. And the thing is, and you really know it's family if someone comes for one of us. So then
Right.
they're like, now wait a minute, we can talk about them, but you can't. Like
Exactly. Okay.
that's what
Okay.
we don't do.
Yeah, it's crazy. We have this place called Rita's. You all have Rita's where you live? Rita's custard, like you get custard and Italian ice. Anyway, so I was going to the pizza place behind our Rita's, and then I saw some fellow thoroughbreds in line, right? Knew they were babies, but I was like, okay, Breds. They're like, you was the gay say? Like, it's like, we 2016. So, I'm 2000. But, it was just immediately, and all the white folks was looking like, what? Like, but it was just that instant love, that it's just, like Shell said, it's just undescribable. I love it.
Yes. And we met people like when I was campaigning, I met people here in Columbus who had gone to K-State, like still go back to homecoming, but had gone like probably before we were even born and went and graduated and like came on and supported me in my campaign. Like as soon as they found out that I went to K-State, and it was like nothing. And not just financially, but like supportive throughout and still to this day supportive. And we're still meeting people, like Samara said, like younger and forming close connections with people who were there after us. So yeah, it's just that family. Because when you family,
Family, right?
So is that, I know it's something you all are still working on and it's not yet released yet, but is that your heart behind wanting to do the HBCU tour? Like tell people about that, like exactly what you want to do or envision about that and why you want to do it.
Yes.
All right. So we actually have done 2 so far, but the main thing is our friendship and using our friendship as the foundation. And so just saying, if you're around like-minded people, who look like you support one another, this is what you can become. This is what can come of that relationship. But the vision behind it was to, instill the self-confidence. So it's myself, I do self-image and personal image, self-esteem, and confidence. Shell is the queen of goal setting. And then Dr. Taisha Halsell Richards, we take her along and she does sexual wellness, which is huge for college children. And then the last one we did, Lori Lindsay, who was also a K-State graduate, she did physical and mental wellness. So just really making sure that, our people, African-American people, take care of ourselves and know that we are better together. So that's basically kind of the vision behind it and showing them, like they have to see it. Like a lot of times young girls don't know, or, our people just don't know because they've never seen it, right? They've never seen success that looks like them. And I'm just talking, Shell, go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm right there with you. Okay. And so the first time that we did it was back in 2010 at K-State, where we were able to come back home. We had left 10 years before. And so we were able to come back. And at that time, Dr. Melanie Mabin Dix was there and talked about financial wellness as well. So we just love to share with young people the importance of living a holistic life and taking care of every area of your life. So it's really meant to be like a launching pad, so an extension of the safety that you have at an HBCU, but then give you that launching pad to say, okay, before you go out to the real world, make sure that you have these foundational pieces and principles so that you can accelerate once you get outside of here. So a final opportunity to be safe before you extend and have to go out.
And the reason that I wanted you all on the podcast, beyond you being friends, is that we had a conversation back at one of our Alpha regionals in Columbus, and you were talking about this and how this is your passion and what you're drawn towards. And I've been thinking a lot about how there's a group of us, and I say us, I'm talking about Black Americans, who are constantly saying this generation doesn't do, this generation doesn't have, this generation is not, or whatever. And there are a few who are saying they may not, but some of them may not because we haven't grabbed their hand to teach them anything to them or to sit them down. They don't know how to tie a tie because they have no man in their life to show them how to tie a tie.
Right.
They don't know about, I was talking to someone just a few days ago about, some women don't know anything about slips, or they know nothing about having body shapers, or what skirt length is appropriate to sit in the front of the government. What is Black? Those are things that for some, if you tell them they're being invited to a wedding and it's a black tie, they don't know. When I was at I was over the choir when I went back to Kentucky State to be over the choir as an adult and not a student. I remember when they used to sing a lot at the public assemblies, and I would have them, they didn't have robes for a while, and I would have them wear all black. And it was amazing. Some of the students would come in with black and like tennis shoes, or they would come in black and no jacket, or some of them were like, I don't own a skirt, or I don't own a jacket. I don't know what to put on. And it was giving them anxiety because I was like, I wasn't trying to shame them. I was just like, hey, you don't know. So I had women come in and show them like how to wear girdles and stuff like that. And they were asking all these questions. They were like, I've never heard of this before. No one has ever told me this before. So we got robes, because some of them couldn't afford to get other things. But I was just thinking in just a larger sense that it's not that they don't want to do better, but no one is really trying. There are some people, but there's not a lot of people that are really trying to help bridge that gap so that they're not successful. This is the part that people get confused by. Not successful just in church, but successful in the world. We're not trying to be church babies. We're trying to make sure you're good for the world and for society.
For the world.
Yes. And we have to, right? Like no more handoffs or talking about them or shaming them, like you said. But we have to, like, it is our responsibility. Like, if not us, then who? And especially when you know and you have it and the ability to share and the means to share, it's like, again, it's a part of family. So we have to come together if we want to see a difference.
You believe that there was, first of all, is there something that was like sparked in you to say somebody needs to do something about this? Or was it based on some of the mentors that you've had in your life that you say, hey, I need to pass this on?
Yeah, well, for me, it's definitely my mother. My mom was all about, first impressions, your self-image, how you treat other people, how you present yourself, to the world. I remember she used to put on lipstick and she was going to the mailbox. I'm just like, Mom, why are you putting lipstick to go to the mailbox? She said, you never know who's going to go by, honey. All right. They're not going to catch me looking any type of way, and not because she didn't feel good about herself, but it's just all about, presentation. So my mom definitely, and then, fashion is in my bones, so just if I know what looks good on somebody, like I do feel like if I have the knowledge that is, like Shell said, it's my duty to, tell. So my love of fashion and my knowledge that I have was, I thought, my duty to go to share with other people. So.
And same too for me, like my parents basically their professions, they took care of people. My mom was a hairdresser, so making sure that people's hair was together. And then my father was a paramedic with the fire department my entire life. So it was always instilled in me, like at a young age. I remember being in high school and like tutoring elementary and middle school students, but it was like always what you do. You're never too young or too old or too accomplished to be able to give back, to make sure that, you know, you're paving the way for someone else, right? A lot of us have been first in different things. And I always say, like, for me, it's my moral responsibility, although I may be first somewhere, not to be last. And I put more importance and stress upon myself to make sure that I am creating the way so that it can be easier for someone else who comes behind me, or if nothing else, at least they'll know what it's like and know that the people who went before them fought for it to be better for them to come behind.
So
One of my mentors also taught me that too, that you have to duplicate yourself. She was like, baby, you can't leave anywhere. She was the board chair for the Sunshine Christian Academy. And I was on the board with her. And she was like, everywhere you go, you always have to make sure that you duplicate yourself multiple times before you leave.
I love that. And one thing I was thinking about for me is just seeing, like, you sharing something with someone that makes them feel better on the inside, just seeing that their smile, like the little light bulb go off, like there's not a greater like feeling,
yes.
Just inner self-satisfaction to see that in somebody else.
Yeah. I think about Kentucky State and how we had Dr. Pearson and Dr. Strickland and of course, Dr. Bennett, different ones who would always, pull you aside, to say something. Dr. Helm, or different ones that would pull you aside because they cared. It wasn't that they were trying to shame you or whatever. I remember Mr. Isidore Rich was the one who taught me about shaving. Talked to all like the young guys about how to shave, and that's when I was doing like, I think in my mistakes, like the magic shave or whatever, you put the shave on. Burned my skin a few times, but I remember he talked to us about, how to dress and, to pull your pants out, what type of belt to wear, all those different types of things. But they felt like it was their responsibility to make sure that we were ready for the world, because the world was not going to be as kind as Kentucky State was.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
Responsibility to prepare us for that. So I appreciate. So for those who want that experience, like, is that something that you all are bringing everywhere, or is it some places? It's only how do you plan to, or what do you envision reaching people with this?
So
I know I'm asking all
year, right? I know. I was like, how much we're gonna share? So this year we probably have a limited amount of availability for like any HBCU, where they can contact us and we can see based on our availability if we're able to go. Our full launch is coming in 2024, and we should have details by the fall to share specifically how we're going to divide and conquer.
Yes.
I just wanted to give people just a little taste of it. You know how you give, the Color Purple trailer just came out and it's not even coming out till
Christmas.
Yes. I was watching that like, wait a minute, is this something? I didn't even realize it was new until it was like almost over.
I'm ready. I wear purple every day until then.
I know that's right.
So I want to deviate for one second about how both of you went in different lanes. Samara, how long have you been dancing?
Oh gosh. Well, I've been dancing, I would say for sure, like since like ninth grade. Like, so freshman year, I started taking dance more seriously, but it wasn't until I graduated from Kentucky State and Mr. Lawrence Lemon, he, started No Male Ministries. And that's when I really got into the different genres of dance, because I was, straight drill team majorette for all that time. And then just learning the different history of Black dance and just the stories you can tell with your body. And so he really introduced me to that. So I would just be saying since maybe 93-ish. Is that when we started high school? 92?
92.
92. So that's how many years? 31, something like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
over 30 years. Huh?
Yeah, right. I'm
Yes,
like
over
30 years ago we
I
went.
know.
So how
Yes.
does that feel now, the teacher?
You said what, honey?
How does that feel now being the teacher?
Oh, I know, right? I mean,
In
it
high
feels
school.
great. I mean, you never know like why you're doing certain things because dance was never in my vision for what I was doing for a living. I loved it, but me teaching babies, babies with such potential, that they could do this for a career, me being that person responsible for that, never saw that. I was in fashion for the rest of my life. But I'm also a firm believer in where God says go, let's go. And yeah, so now I'm here and it's been a great success, but it's all his plan, So I just thank him all the time for trusting me with his plan. So yeah, it's a great feeling because I know it's all him because this was definitely not on the radar for me.
Not just teaching, but traveling internationally with her competitive dancers and going all around the country and winning competitions.
Yes.
How did that feel when I think if I hope I say this right, because sometimes my references are wrong. But how did it feel when you were at the Black Caucus? Is that what y'all were at?
The Congressional Black Caucus, yes.
How did that
well, first of all, we went to rehearse the night before and they were setting up the sea of tables where you couldn't even see the end of it. So when my dance babies walked in, they were like, oh my God, like this is a lot of people. Like, so it's like over 6,000 people they were going to be dancing in front of. So just seeing that, and then afterwards, the people stopping their conversations and clapping for them and just letting them know, and just the feeling that they had of their sense of pride and accomplishment and just importance, we're being seen for the talent, doing something that we love and the talent that God gave us. Like people are seeing us and acknowledging our gifts. So it was a surreal feeling. I will definitely say that.
Yeah, I was so happy when I saw that. I said, "You better dance, do it."
Yeah.
I was excited about it.
Yes.
Shell, did you Judge Stroud? Excuse me. Did you know that you were always going to be in law?
I did. I started to articulate it at the age of 5 that I wanted to be a lawyer. And it was the only thing like I ever said. I never deviated, despite not seeing any lawyers who look like me. The only encouragement that I received to accomplish this dream came from home, my close family, some of the teachers at the school that we went to, but also some teachers and counselors said like, no. I grew up in the inner city. Still an area where we receive most of our cases at here at court. And so simply because of where I grew up and what I look like, most people are like, absolutely not. Like, think about doing something else. And so that's another reason why I speak and share like as often as I can about the legal system and about my journey, because it is so important for other people to like be able to see and hear, because you never know, like when you share your story or just stop by to encourage someone, they don't even have to be on a similar path, but just to say like, whatever you want to do, you can do it and we need you. You never know like at a critical moment and what that will mean for someone like in the long run. I was in high school the first time I saw a Black woman who was a lawyer, like outside of Felicia Rashad on the Cosby Show. Like, and she came at the right time too, because I needed her. But I was in high school before I like in person saw a Black woman who was a lawyer. And she came to my school and she was a judge in the same court that I'm in right now. And I was like, I didn't even talk to her really. Like I said, thank you, but it wasn't a meaningful conversation in high school, but I never forgot her. And that gave me the encouragement and also said, like, hey, maybe after I'm a lawyer, I'll be a judge because I see her doing it. So that's why I take every opportunity. And just because God does all things well, like she ended up being my mentor and the first person who I worked for my first legal internship during law school, and stuck with me throughout the way. And now she's in private practice. She went on to be on the Supreme Court and now in private practice, but she went back to the Supreme Court and asked for special privileges so that she can swear me in after I was elected. So you never know like the impact that you have on people's lives and what your story means for them. And that's why it's important for all of us just to take every opportunity to always encourage a young person along the way.
Yeah, that's good. That's very
For
good.
sure.
I want to know, I've never asked anyone this before, so y'all are the guinea pigs for this question. But now that we are in our 40s, you don't ask women how old they are, but we are in our 40s. That's where we are. That's where we're at now.
That's where we are.
Y'all remember years ago, waiting to exhale? First of all, the fact that we say years ago throws me off, but
Yes.
there was a
Right.
time where I remember a moment of silence for Whitney Houston. But I remember them sitting in the middle of the room. It was Angela Bassett and all of them. They were sitting there, and I remember they were drinking wine. And Whitney said to Angela Bassett, one of them, she said, "I am 40 and I still look good." And nobody said anything. And she was like, "And I still look good." And I remember at that time thinking, what, 40 was so long. Like that was like,
Oh my gosh.
oh,
Yes.
old, like 40.
Yes.
But now, just like I'm 40 and I still look good. Now I'm saying the same
I
thing.
know that's right.
Right. And you still look good.
You look good.
I
Yes.
want to know, what do you know now in your 40s that you were learning or didn't know in your 20s?
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I think I always like thought, I mean, I always say like life is short, let's do this, let's do this. But now it's really like every moment, every choice that you make really helps to determine where you're going. And so just being a little bit hindsight 2020, just being a little bit more protective of my time, because time is one thing that you cannot get back. I don't have many regrets. It's just making sure that you use your time wisely, because that's the only resource that you cannot get back. And our health, because health is money. Or you might have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, your quality of life is not so good.
Yes. And I think, was that last year, Samara, where we like fully embraced like now is the time?
Oh yeah.
And said like everything, all of the things that we talked about before that we kind of like put off to where we like fully embrace, like, okay, Lord, what if you give it to us in a thought, in a dream, or we're together and it just comes up organically? Like we are going to fully embrace every opportunity and do all the things. Like, I've always like limitless LaSheyl has been my thing forever. And but I really was not living a limitless lifestyle. And so we've just had so many more conversations about like now being the time to do things and not to put things off. I think another thing that I would look back and tell myself, my 20-year-old self, was to be more like self-aware, because I have been always like goals driven and just working on a thing and not so much concerned about the journey or what that might give off from me to other people. So for me, it's to be more like self-aware, and to make sure that I enjoy the journey, because you pick up so many things in the journey, just like in failures. We learn so many more things when we fail than when we succeed. So just making sure that you embrace every piece of the journey would be my advice to my younger self.
What you spoke about it earlier when we first started about how you all have, well, Samara said, when y'all learned at Kentucky State, or maybe before, y'all out here competing against each other, what would you say is the power of collaboration versus competition? As Black women, as sister, whatever. And because there is a lot of, one of the pet peeves I have often is if, say someone's at the Met Gala or someone is, on the award show and we be like, I don't like what she got on, or I hate what she, whatever. And I'm just like, can we just support the fact that they're there?
Right.
Like, you got there, good, great, or whatever. And I feel that sometimes as a people, we support publicly but hate privately. Like in your face, good job, like wow, like child, whatever. Like really, how do you get to that healthy place of really celebrating, wanting to collab, to be able to say, hey, we each have different views and perspectives and ways to do it. We can collab and we can support each other and we don't have to compete. How do you get to that point that you can really celebrate the power of collaboration?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with you. Like, you have to be comfortable with you. You have to know that you have value, you have worth, that nobody else on this earth can do what you were created to do. So I'm not going to spend time competing with you. We're not even the same. Like, we're not the same. We weren't created the same. We both have value and we both have a purpose, but it's different. So I'm wasting time and energy if I'm trying to be like you or vice versa. So yeah, it starts within.
I absolutely agree. And I need you. Like at the end of the day, I need you in order for me to be able to do what I know God has given me to do. So I need you just as much as you need me to be my authentic self. So I think that's where the collaboration comes, knowing yourself and then knowing that in and of yourself, there's no way that you can do all of the things that you need to do alone. Like we were made to be together and to support one another and to have that partnership and collaboration so that we can truly be able to accomplish what it is that we were all meant to do.
Yeah, that's good. I just always wanted to ask because there's a lot of people that are in the competition place and not,
Yeah.
So,
right.
So I wanted to ask as we wrap this up, because I know that the evolving live into total excellence, the elite, is one of this, focal points of what you do. But I wanted to see, what do you see yourself evolving to in the next 10 years? Not just with HBCU tour, the dancing, all, your own lanes, whatever. What do you see yourself involving into?
Well, you want to go, Chef?
What?
I mean, I always say this, like even sometimes in my bio, I use Oprah. When you say Oprah and Gail, I use Oprah as a reference because the desire to give that God has placed within me, I know that He's going to allow me to be able to give even more. Not that monetary things are all that there is. You give your time, you give your love, you give your wisdom. But I just really in the next 10 years see myself, going around speaking and being female Santa Claus. Like I'm going to the store and I'm just, yep, I'm paying for this, or I'm gonna be able to pay off somebody's college. Like, and LaSheyl and I say all the time, like one day we're gonna be able to be, when you read in the newspaper and it's like they pay for 10 kids to go to college. Like, I just feel like we're being set up for to be able to be that type of blessing to others. So yeah, we're traveling around being, well, I said we, but where I go, she go, and where she go, I go. Yeah, so I just see that. I see that. That's what I want for my life in 10 years.
Yes. I see that. I see that too. And just continuing on this embracing the power of now. And living out this limitless lifestyle, right? Like just take the limits off. If he said it, let's do it. And just nothing is off limits. Like whatever. Like, okay, he said do this, this is what we're about to do today. Like no one or nothing can box us in. So yes, just truly embracing now is the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you all spending this time with me, and most importantly, for pouring into this next generation, and raising them up. I really think that that's powerful. I'm glad that you were able to share that, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this HBCU tour in 2024, how it continues to take you different places. So let the people know how they can follow you or find you. Some people are probably interested in the information that you have to share. So they want to know how can they find you. So let the people know how they can find you and connect with you.
I am on.
All right, my IG is at
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, my IG is at Samara Empowers, and our website is www.youngeliteinternational.org. And my dance program's IG is at Dance E.L.I.T.E Live.
And we're both on Facebook as well under our names, Samara Tillman. And I'm Judge LaSheyl Stroud on Facebook. And then on Instagram, I am at Limitless LaSheyl. So Limitless and then LASHEYL. We share our Young Elite page. And then I also have www.judgestroudSpeaks.com.
Okay. All right. Well, friends, I thank you all for tuning in today. I want you to follow them. I want you to bring them to your places, wherever they may be. And hopefully, ultimately, you've been inspired by this conversation to live limitlessly and to be able to embrace what it is that you've been called to do. So thank you. I'm out of time. I'm not out of conversation, obviously.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Bye.